Hello and welcome to the channel. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. Thanks for subscribing and following along. If you watched my last video, I had mentioned that I was going to be getting a winter project / winter commuter, and I would post it on my channel. So here it is. I bought a 2004 Subaru WRX. It is the 2.0 liter turbocharged. It's all-wheel drive. And the reason I wanted to get a car for the winter is my position at my career is changing a little bit for the next few months, and I have to commute every day about 20 to 25 miles. And it's winter now here in Pennsylvania, and winter kind of came early, so we've been getting a lot of snow and cold weather. And I wanted something all-wheel drive and kind of like, like a winter, not beater, but car that I didn't care as much about as, our daily drivers. And figured if I was going to be buying a new car, why not fulfill a childhood dream? So I've always wanted a WRX. This is the year that I would have, this would have been the generation that was out when I first got my driver's license. And I've always thought these things were really cool. I've always wanted one. So perfect opportunity to pick one up. As I started looking at these, I looked at newer ones from 2015. It was the newest that I looked at and test drove, and then all the way back to 2004 was the oldest one that I looked at and test drove in person. And when I drove this one, I loved it because it's more of like an engaging experience than the newer ones. It's a lot more simple, I guess you'd say. And I like that. I like, kind of like that raw feel. I don't like a whole lot of electronics and stuff. You can hear the turbo spooling up. You can hear the wastegate dumping air. You can kind of feel everything. The transmission as you shift. It's super exciting to drive. It sounds so cool. I bought it. I'll show you in the condition that I bought it in. It needed a lot of work. There's a lot of rust underneath. Pretty much everyone that I looked at was rusty. Even that 2015 had a lot of rust. So I knew that I would be getting into a project. I just didn't know how big of a project. And once I got this thing and got underneath of it and really started dissecting it, I realized how bad the rust was. Nothing that's not repairable, but worse than I had thought it was, and more work involved than I had thought. So I want to put this video together. I'll show you the condition that I bought it in and what I thought it needed at that time, and then what I've done to it. Little spoiler, in the end, it works out because I've been driving it for a week now, back and forth to work. And every day I get so excited to hop in this thing to and from work. It's so exciting and it's so fun. I don't turn the radio on or anything. I just listen to the car and enjoy the experience. So hope you enjoy the video. Thanks for watching.
Here's the condition of the car whenever I bought it. These are the photos from the Facebook Marketplace ad. That's where I found it. It's from the original owner, and it has 153,000 miles on it. And he had all the original maintenance records, which was really helpful, like timing belt and everything. He had all the receipts from any of the aftermarket parts, which is very minimal. There's an aftermarket wastegate, aftermarket intake, and an aftermarket downpipe and exhaust. I think other than that, it's factory, which was nice. It's hard to find one of these that's not kind of molested, and this one was mostly factory, and he put all those add-ons early on, like I think 05 or 06, so within a year or two after buying it, so they've been on there for a really long time. It did come with the access port for programming it and stuff, which I don't plan to mess with. Overall, it's in really good shape. He kept really good care of it. He also kept all the oil change records, so he even filled out the original maintenance manual for the car with all the oil changes from brand new up until current day, which is kind of wild. Nice job, Jason. So that goes a long way, and it's been well taken care of. Like I said in the intro, there is some rust underneath that needs addressed and just some other general maintenance things. Right here I'm waxing it, putting a nice coat of wax on to protect it. And here I'm restoring the headlights. They're pretty yellow, so I'm going to see if this headlight restore paste, it's kind of like a rubbing compound, I'm going to see if that helps brighten these things up. You can see in this photo up here on the left how yellow they were, and let's see what they look like when I'm done here. Next, I'm cleaning the interior. The steering wheel's got a lot of like buildup on it. I'm using Armor All to remove it, and Armor All usually works pretty good to also protect it once you clean it. So it's kind of a clean and protect type thing. So I'll just scrubbing with a microfiber cloth back and forth. You can see that grease or buildup's kind of slowly coming off. There's a few like little defects there in the bottom left of that steering wheel, but overall it's in great shape. It just needs the buildup removed. So scrub, scrub, and scrub. Eventually that all comes off. There's the finished product. And to get all the fine little cracks and crevices, I use a toothbrush. Works really good. Spray like a little bit of Armor All or something on there on the toothbrush bristles, and then you kind of scrub in there and it like removes all of the debris and the cracks. And then once you get all the debris out of the cracks, just do a final wipe down with like a microfiber cloth. It works really good. So that's what I'm doing here, just getting all the crud and buildup out of these cracks and then wiping down with the cloth. Down here in the seat brackets, there's some rust. So I'm going to get that cleaned up. I'm going to vacuum the floors and then use a carpet scrubber to clean the dirt out of the carpet and the seats. I didn't record scrubbing the seats, but you'll see the result of those at the end of this video. Next, I'm moving on to the undercarriage. I'm using a shop vac to collect all the dust, and I'm wire brushing and scraping everything. So you can see right there that little puff of dust. I started doing this without the shop vac running, and I noticed a lot of dust settling like on the top of the car and stuff, so I figured it was getting into the air, and then would get into the ductwork of the house, and you know, kids would be breathing it in. So I was like, well, I'm going to just run the shop vac to help collect all the dust. And it was kind of nice, especially for the rust scale. As it would fall down, I would vacuum it up with the shop vac, so that worked pretty good. And then I'm moving on to the wheels here. I'm using rubbing alcohol to clean them, get rid of any grease or contaminants. A little screwdriver to scrape some corrosion, and then I'm using emery cloth and sandpaper to scuff it up to get rid of like the gloss finish so that the paint has something to attach to. And then one more wipe down with alcohol and then get it ready for paint. Saw this tip online to use note cards instead of using tape to mask off the tire, and it works phenomenal. They just kind of drop in around the bead there. Works really good. Here I cut a little board and I'm using a window fan as like an exhaust because it's really cold outside. I think it was like in the teens this day, Fahrenheit. So I'm using this to exhaust all the fumes and the paint overspray so that it's not going into the house and the garage. The system I was kind of doing on this was I would remove one wheel, I would paint it, and while I'd wait for that paint to dry, I would be working on rust removal, painting and undercoating that quarter of the car. So right here I'm working on the passenger rear. That's the wheel you just saw me paint. Now I'm scraping, wire brushing, get rid of all the rust, painting black, just Rust-Oleum black, and then wool wax undercoating over top to protect it and undercoat it to get it through winter and keep this car in great shape. So there you can see the final result. After all the scale and rust is removed and it's paint, some spots are just touched up. Anything like bare metal is painted with Rust-Oleum black, paint and primer, and then fluid filmed to protect it. There you can see the diff cover, kind of polished aluminum. I used that mag and aluminum polish to shine that thing up, and then while I had the wheel off I painted the caliper red. Here I am on the driver rear. This strut tower is rusted out, so I have to take the strut off, and you'll see how that goes here. This part here felt like a 400-pound deadlift. And I got it broke free. Didn't break, it just, broke free and it's loose now, so I'm kind of working it back and forth to get it out. Moving on to the top of the strut, you can see the top cap cover thing is rusted out. There's got a big crack in it, I think because the strut's kind of pushing on it. And then you can see over there by the spot welded joint of that like little tower, you can see it's rusted out in that top corner. So I don't really know how bad it is until we get all this off. It's real bad. Top of the strut's basically gone. Could have been worse, so it's not too bad. That little rolled section is rusty, and then that's rusted out at that pinch weld there, or spot weld, sorry. But it's salvageable for sure. The main structure is good. So I'm going to make a patch piece for this, but take a look at the top of the strut, how bad it is. I think the strut itself took the brunt of the corrosion. The top hat's gone. It's like half of it. One of the studs fell off when I pulled it out. Definitely not too safe to be driving. Glad we're getting this taken care of. So I'm going to wire brush this to get down to bare metal and see what is good and still thick enough, you know, to retain. There's some like old seam sealer in here and stuff I got to get out of here, and then see what we got. Here's after it's all cleaned up. The main bones of it are good. Just that left side's a little bit thin. That's the only area that's thin. So I'll make a patch piece for this whole thing and kind of tie it back into the main tower. Just wire brush, clean up all the excess rust. Got it primed and painted to protect it, because I'm going to put a piece over this. Same with the top. It's black right here, but I did paint it blue. You'll see in a future clip. I had a little bit of blue paint, spray paint, that I just used to, it almost matched. And I'm just using cardboard here to kind of make the template. See what I got going on there. And then I cut a little piece out of this sheet of steel, and then slowly going to start forming it. Just using sheet metal shears and needle nose pliers basically, and a little body hammer I have to kind of pound in radiuses and stuff. Just slowly working it, and then test fit and form it, and test fit and form it. So just back and forth up into the wheel well and then to the metal sheet. Just kind of picking your lines. Use a Sharpie to kind of mark your lines and edges where you need to make your bends, and then just start forming it and see how it fits and make adjustments as you need to. It takes a little bit of time, but especially once it's done, it's gratifying. Here's the final result. I had to cut off that third flange because it wouldn't fit over the top hat of the strut. So I got two flanges that will go down the strut tower that'll tie the strut tower to this new patch plate. That way it's not just the top plate. But my son was playing in the car as I was working on this. He's hiding in the trunk here.
I see my foot. There he is. Do you need food or water? Just joking.
I painted that patch piece black. Here it is up in, held in place with clamps. You can see, kind of get an idea what it's going to look like. Use the clamps to hold it up tight against the top plate. That way when I secure it to the strut tower, you know, it's already up as high as it's going to be. That way there's no gap between the patch piece and the original material. That way there's no room for corrosion, stuff to get in there to corrode it. And then here's after I used rivets, because this is right over top of the gas tank. The gas tank's to my right here, and I did not want to, you know, cause an explosion or anything. Plus I didn't take the interior out and I didn't want to catch anything on fire. So I used heavy duty stainless rivets. I think there's 8 of them in there, 8 or 9. I put a rivet there at that old spot weld too to hold the original little seatbelt tower to the new patch plate. And then there's rivets all around the perimeter holding this thing in place, and then a couple on the top. And then I got a really thick coating of lanolin or wool wax up in there to prevent any materials from getting up in there. In this clip here, we're up on the front passenger side control arm, the lower control arm. There's some rust holes in it, which you can see here. There. I hit it with, you know, with a screwdriver and a hammer. and it broke through in a couple places, so I wire brushed it really good. There's a real big hole there. Wire brushed it really good till I got the good metal, and then painted it, and then fluid filmed the heck out of it. And I'm making a patch piece right now, which you see there. I just formed it out of that same sheet of steel that you saw me form the strut tower out of. Just a little bit of time cutting and bending. Actually didn't take all that long at all. And then I welded a little nut on the bottom that I'm going to put a bolt through an existing hole in that control arm to bolt the top, because I don't want to weld a I don't want to put a weld perpendicular to that control arm because it kind of makes like a weak spot. So I'm going to use the bolt to hold it in place at the top, and then I'm going to weld it to the existing weld on the control arm. That way I'm not, weakening any material. Alright, got it in. I just using a little 110 MIG from Harbor Freight. So not the best welder, but I made it work, and it's definitely securely attached. So should strengthen up this front control arm quite a bit. Got some Rust-Oleum on there to protect it, and then undercoat the heck out of it with wool wax, lanolin, or fluid film. I'm using wool wax in this video is what I use to coat it. And there it is, 100% complete, minus putting the new rear strut back in. So here's the strut, got it off Rock Auto. It was $70 complete. Here it is against the old one. The old one has some snow on it there. That's why it's got that white in there, but a little bit longer. That's just because it's brand new, but top hat is in much better shape. And actually, once I got this thing installed, it's settled into the exact same level as the original one, which is kind of weird. So it's not, it's basically the perfect strut, so it fits really good. And here I'm getting it coated with wool wax to keep it from rusting and protect it. Should last a really long time. Here I'm checking camber. It's actually 0 degrees. It's perfectly vertical, and the passenger side is also 0 degrees, perfectly vertical. I had to pry on the I guess the wheel hub carrier and the strut just a little bit to kind of tweak it to that 0 degree mark, but not much. Those bolts are pretty much tolerance to be a direct fit to the strut and the wheel hub carrier. So I don't know if there's much room for a camber adjustment on this vehicle, but I did verify that the camber was good, and I got both. I got the new strut to 0 degrees, which is what the passenger side was at. So it's good to go. Got a new air filter. The original one was totally disintegrated. And it is a pain in the butt to change the filter on this vehicle. It's up inside of the wheel well. So I ended up having to take the top, that hose loose, and then pull the hose down into this bottom here where this plastic cover is. Pull that hose down to me, get it connected, and then push it back up through. That was a pain in the butt. Actually, I think it took me longer to do this air filter change than it did to get that strut back in the camber adjustment set, which is wild. But finished result, car's ready to drive. So I'll just do a walk around and show you how it turned out here. The wheels for the paint job that I did on them turned out phenomenal. I really like the color of these. I used Rust-Oleum. Well, you saw it earlier in the clip, but Rust-Oleum Gold Metallic is the color I used, and I think it's spot on for the typical Subaru World Rally Blue and the gold wheels. You can see the undercarriage is all fluid, or I used wool wax. The undercarriage is totally covered in wool wax. Any bare spots of rust were scraped, wire brushed, and painted with Rust-Oleum, and then wool waxed to seal it and protect it. Any spots on the unibody that were rusty, I just had some blue spray paint. I wire brushed those, scraped them, and then hit it with blue, and then I also covered that in wool wax. Calipers are painted red. Car is waxed. Interior is scrubbed, cleaned. Seats are carpet scrubbed, and the floors are carpet scrubbed to remove any stains and debris. Camber set from the strut change. Headlights are polished. I wiped down the full exhaust to polish it up. It's a full titanium exhaust. I wiped it down. I gave that rear diff cover a polish with mag and aluminum polish. And the vehicle's ready to rock. So I'm going to start driving it to work every day. The main voyage actually was my first day. I drove it. The first time I ever took it for a ride was to work, so I was a little afraid of a breakdown or an issue, but everything went really well. And like I said, I've been driving it for a week now, and so far so good. Everything is good on it. I did do an oil change. The original owner changed the oil every 3,000 miles, and I wasn't to the 3,000 mile mark yet, or the car wasn't at the 3,000 mile mark yet, but I wanted to get fresh fluids in there, so I did. I went to the Subaru dealership near me. I bought a Subaru oil filter and full synthetic oil, 5W30. Put that in there. That's what the original owner ran for its entire life. He did an oil change every 3,000 miles, and he said he used full synthetic. So I'll continue to do the same thing and try to keep the Subaru engine running as long as we can. My plan is to drive this for the next 3 or 4 months every day to work, and after that my job's going to be changing again, and I won't need to commute every day. So the plan is right now to sell this car in the spring, just because we won't need a third vehicle at our home. If you're interested in the car, feel free to reach out. I might be posting it in the spring. I'm also getting pretty attached to it already, so I don't know if I'm going to sell it or not, but we'll see come spring. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. I will probably post more content about this car in the future. Thanks again for watching.